Hey, what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? My name's Brian with Bluefoot Homestead. Thank you for coming and checking out this video. I do appreciate it. I want to talk about get home bags, kind of the bug out bag thing. It's kind of the hot topic lately, what a lot of people are talking about. You know, it's just a bag that you have in your vehicle that gives you some supplies to be able to get home. Okay, well, first of all, I don't know if you can see my breath or not, but it's cold. It is in the mid 20s, I think, around 25, 26 degrees right now. I'm out in my garage, obviously, as you can see one more time, but I had both my garage doors open and the back door wide open, so it is the outside temperature in here. I don't have a jacket on. I am a little cold right now. It's just got the chills saying that. But, you know, hey, you got to push yourself sometimes. But, yeah, get home bags. Now, see, a lot of these people put together bags. You know, it's usually a good sized backpack packed with all kinds of good stuff. You know, people do water purification. They do life straw, you know, clarification tabs. Things like that. They do food. They do a little bit of freeze-dried food, some Kind bars and things like that. You know, plenty of things to eat while you're walking home. Most people will take it a step or two further. They will, you know, bring survival type things. They will bring 2, 3 different types of paracord for, you know, whatever reason. Fishing stuff, you know, to be able to catch some food. Paracord's also used to be able to build shelters. You know, that's a good thing. Also little small tarps and things like that to be able to build a shelter. Things when you build a shelter is fire. They will bring lighters, waterproof matches, as well as a ferro rod. Also some starting type things, you know, Vaseline and cotton balls, different things that people make to be able to start a fire very easily. That's a good thing to have. Of course, people bring firearms. The door just kicked open from the wind, so I got some wind coming in here. You know, they bring all kinds of things, you know, extra shoes, extra clothes. Some people I've seen pack a foldable AR-15 in a backpack. Do you really need these things? You know, I have to ask myself, you know, these people, they will have hundreds of things, you know, a medical kit, a backup medical kit, things like that. And do you really need these things? How far are you walking? How far are you away from home? I think that's one major thing to kind of ask yourself. You know, on an average, on a high-end average, just to play it safe, how far do you travel from home? 15 miles, 20 miles, 5 miles? Do you stay pretty close to home? These are things to consider if you're thinking about doing some sort of get-home bag. So I hear a lot of people talk about like a 10-mile trip, maybe even a 15-mile trip. You know, that's what they talk about. That's how far away from home that they work. And this is what they're going to need to get home. You know, they have literally 100 different things crammed into a backpack. Pocket knives, fixed blade knives, a Bowie knife, all these things. Do you really need it? If that's your thing, pack it up, definitely. Keep in mind also you're going to be walking with, you know, 30, 50, 75 pound pack on your back, and that might not always be the best thing. So I understand that, I mean, it's a cool topic to talk about, especially on these prepper channels, survival channels, and things like that. They're fun. They're fun to put together. They're fun to think of these different ideas and scenarios that you might come across in a get home bag type situation, SHTF. So I want to kind of talk about a couple things regarding that. The first thing is the only time that you're going to need a get home bag to where you have to abandon your vehicle, because most of us don't walk to places or ride a bike to places, we drive. We have the wonderful capability here in the United States and be blessed enough to be able to own vehicles and put gas in those vehicles to travel to places that we want to go blow more money on. So we're going to be driving. The only scenario I can really think about that you are not going to be able to get home in your vehicle is an EMP, a CME, but basically an EMP. So in my eyes, and kind of the way I think about SHTF, I think that is a very small probability of happening. Can it happen? Yeah. In fact, I think those odds are getting a little bit better as these different conflicts kind of flare up and learning more about what these countries' capabilities are doing. Say North Korea just launched a rogue satellite up into space that doesn't communicate back to North Korea. It's just floating around out there. Now, what is that? Could it be an EMP? It very well could be. Is North Korea one of the countries that would use an EMP? Probably. So the threat is out there, and I've never really carried one. I don't really do a bug out bag. I have all of my important things in one small spot I might be able to grab and, get out of the house or something like that. I might end up throwing it in a bag of some sort just to have it a little bit more accessible to be able to get out. But that's going to be in an emergency situation. House catches on fire. Zombies are attacking everywhere and I got to get out, something along those lines. But other than that, I am not going to be bugging out. And that's my choice. I know a lot of people say that's a bad choice to bug in because you're always going to have to bug out. So you got to do something. Now, as far as the bug out thing goes, I know I'm kind of shifting off of the main subject, but I could put something together fairly quick within, 15 or 20 minutes to do what I need to do as far as a bug out bag. But a get home bag, I think an EMP is going to be the only scenario that you're actually going to need something like that. Now, for number 2, I have to ask people that are putting these bags together, how far are you walking? For me, I'm kind of hard on myself. Now, I'm gonna tell myself if I can't walk 15 miles butt naked without getting arrested, but with nothing on me, just bare bones, my clothes like this, walk 15 miles to get home, I got an issue. I need to, and I even have arthritis in my spine and things like that. I'm going to be able to get home in a 15-mile range. Now, if it's an EMP type situation, 15 miles is going to take me a few hours. I don't need a survival kit. I am not going to be building a shelter for a 15-hour walk. I am not going to be needing 5 lighters, a ferro rod, and waterproof matches to do a few-hour walk. Now, you kind of have to consider these things, like, is this really worth it? Now, for me, I like to travel. I like doing photography. I like going out and checking out these different places around this cool country that I live in out here in the Ozarks. So I do find myself 300 miles away sometimes, 100 miles away. Now, if I'm 300 miles away, that walk is probably going to be about 3 weeks to be able to get home. Now, in that rare situation to where an EMP hits when I am at the absolute furthest point, I'm going to need a little help to get home. Now, kind of the way I see it is the first few days, people are just going to be confused. I think in the first week or so, people are going to start kind of realizing what's going on, I think. It's not going to be mass Mad Max at that point. But I do think by the end of 3 weeks that shit's going to hit the fan. people are going to start losing it. People are going to be running out of food. Stores are going to become more empty. You know, these scenarios that we all kind of dread and plan for might just come true. So I need to kind of put together something that I may be carrying. I may be starting to keep with me a little bit more often as this type of threat, you know, comes up. Even though it's probably just going to happen overnight, we're going to wake up to a new world. So, you know, just like concealed carrying, you know, you should pretty much always carry. You know, just carrying some of the time, it's probably going to happen when you don't carry. So as far as a bug out bag, you should probably always carry it. And I am working on that type of change of mentality to start carrying like that. So, you know, all these people put together these big extravagant bags. I'm going to show you what I'm thinking so far on what I'd like to put together for a bag. Now it is winter time, and most of the time I have adequate clothing and jackets and layers and stuff like that to kind of overkill where I'm going to be. Because I got frostbite when I first moved here, so I definitely have to keep my feet warm, warmer than the average bear, keep my fingertips warm, and have gloves with me and stuff like that. So how am I going to survive getting home? How am I going to survive getting home over a 3-week period? I'm not. Okay? The thing is, I got to turn that 3 weeks into a week. So I can't wait for all this craziness to happen. I got to get home. So here's a couple things that I'm thinking about. First off, it is cased and locked with the safety on. It is loaded with one in the chamber, as always. This is my 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P. It's a great gun, shoots good. Might have to defend yourself. There is that slight chance where people start losing it. People start getting crazy after a few weeks, a week, 2 weeks. You might have to defend yourself, so I'm going to keep that with me. Another thing is, yes, I will have a lighter. I will have one lighter. I will have a Bic lighter that I guarantee will light right now. Well, actually it lit for a second, but this is going to light. They're extremely reliable. Everybody says, oh, well, you know, your lighter's going to fail, so you got to have a backup lighter and that might fail. So you got to have a ferro rod so you can throw sparks at some twigs and light a campfire. Okay, I'm not against ferro rods. I think they're great. I think they're awesome. I think they're more fun than functional. A lighter is going to do the job. I have had Bic lighters for 20 years that still work. So I'm going to roll my dice on that. All right. So if I do need to light a fire or something like that, I'll be able to light a fire. If I'm going to be able to use, or if I need to use a lighter for any other thing, I'm going to have a lighter. There are things that a lighter can do that a ferro rod cannot. As far as lighting a fire, I have an emergency blanket. It's easy, it's pocket sized, it's good to go. So it is winter time. If I do need to camp out in a spot when it's, you know, single digits outside, I'm going to be layered up really good. I'm going to be dressed for the occasion, and that's going to give me a little bit of an extra layer of protection. Now, when it comes to staying warm, you don't have to go climb out into the woods and build a shelter and start a fire and all that kind of stuff. There's other ways to stay warm. There are things to do. You can get into a car. You can find other warm places as you're going to be walking around. There's buildings, there's machinery and stuff like that that kick out heat. You know, you can camp out by those things. There's other ways to stay warm. But definitely an emergency blanket is something I'm going to be keeping with me. So here's another thing. probably the most important that I need a little bit of practice with. Everything needs practice. So these are called jiggler keys. Now, I'm going to show you. Made in America, right? No, these are made straight out of Shanghai. But what these are, if you do not know what these are, I have, see if I can get these. I have these. I have these, which it's not focusing. And I also have these. Now what these are lock picks. These are automotive jigglers is what they call them. So this is for pretty much every vehicle out there. Well, I was going to say I also have some others, but they're included in this one too for older vehicles. These are single-sided, I have double-sided, and I have another type that I forget the name of them. So these will basically open a car, anything that doesn't have a chip. So you're basically looking pre-2000 vehicles. Now, on the way home, there's a lot of vehicles out there. Now I'm going to say this for discretionary use. This would be in an absolute Mad Max situation where the law does not exist, where the police officers are home taking care of their own families because that's probably where they're going to be. And this is a life or death situation and no harm would be done. I do not advocate thievery, stealing anything, or anything like that. This is just a hypothetical situation and I'll leave it at that. So basically these, I hate having to focus like this all the time, are going to basically get into any vehicle, motorcycle, tractor, or anything that has an ignition with quickness. They do take a little bit of practice, kind of have to learn what is what and how to use them. But basically what you do is you stick this in the ignition like that, grab the key ring, and you jiggle it while you put pressure on it, and it's going to set all the plates inside the lock. You're going to be able to turn it. It works for doors. It works for ignitions. Now, if you have a chip inside these, it's obviously not going to start. That is why they put the chip in it, so it can't be picked. But any older vehicle, you're going to be able to get into it and start that vehicle. Now, that can keep you alive. That can get you home. Now, in an absolute worst case scenario, like I said, hypothetically, with the tools that I have, I should be able to get home in a couple days. Now, when it comes to food, there's a lot of people that pack in food. Now, if I was to walk from my house out in the boondocks, within 1 hour, I'll be able to get food. There's a convenience store about 5 miles away. Figure that's going to take me about an hour to walk there. Now, even after a week, after the stores have been pillaged, ransacked, stolen from, closed down, the windows are busted out, there's going to be food in there. Might not be what you really wanted to plan for company to come over and eat, but it will be food. Whether it's a Rice Krispie treat that was smashed on the ground or whatever, there's going to be food. It's not going to let you die from starvation or anything like that. So you're going to be able to get food. If I'm 300 miles away, I can pretty much guarantee that I will be eating on my way home. Now, another thing, in the best case scenario, focus, there we go. Yeah, $5, $6, okay? Now, I just brought this out here because that's what I just happened to have in my wallet. But not a bad idea to carry $500 or so. Whatever cash that you have on hand, maybe start keeping it with you. Because you might be able to negotiate. If somebody still has a running car or something like that, they might be able to help you out and get you home if you offer an absurd amount of money to drive you 5 miles to get home, or however far you are away, 200 miles. You know, if you throw somebody $500, they might just drive you home. You know, especially like in the first week, everybody's still going to have hope of the power coming back on. The media is going to say they're working on it. Power should be on shortly. They're not going to promote the panic that is inevitable. They're going to try to ease everything over as much as possible, and most of the people are going to believe that. So use that to your advantage. You might know that, well, shit's hit the fan, and all these preparations that people have been doing and what you guys have been doing are going to instantly come into play. Most people don't think that way. I think we all know that. Preppers are a minority in this world. Most people are going to try to go about their everyday life. It's cold. So use it to your advantage, you know. People are going to believe money's still perfectly viable and it's going to be usable. So even, you know, being really far away from home, you offer somebody $1,000 for a ride, who's going to turn that down, you know? That's best case scenario. You know, it's going to get you home. I think these things, you know, having a firearm for whichever reason you might need it, and that's a bad angle. Actually, I'll just go ahead and pull it out. So, a firearm, reholstered, a lighter. A lighter can do a whole lot. Just in case, worst case scenario, you get yourself an emergency blanket. Transportation. This is going to be able to get you home. This is going to be able to, hey, maybe help somebody out that locked their keys in their car, and maybe they might give you a ride for the favor of you helping them out. And cash. So I think those are about the only things that I'm going to need. This could literally fit in my pockets. Yeah, this could all fit in my pockets. I don't even really need a bag, but I carry a small bag most places I go. And really, I mean, I think that's about it. You know, a lot of people might think I'm crazy for this, but, you know, in not every situation, I'm going to be the politically correct nice guy, especially if it comes to my survival. I'm going to do what I have to do. And that's just really all it boils down to. So, something to maybe take into consideration. You know, when you watch some of these guys out here building these, you know, $1,500 bug out bags and get home bags and stuff like that, and they ramble on for an hour and a half on every little possible thing that they want to throw in this, in multiples of the same thing for that matter. You know, really think, if you're considering building something, what do you really need? What do you really need? How far are you going to be walking? You know, what are you going to need to walk that far? Me personally, I don't need crap if I'm within 30 miles. I can walk home. Sure, I might be thirsty. Sure, I might be hungry. Sure, I might be cold, but I'm going to make it. I'm not worried about that. I'm pretty confident in that. It's going to suck, but I'm going to make it. Oh, one more thing. Yes, I am a sheep. I am a sheeple. I got a Berkey. Come on, focus. There we go. This is a Berkey squeeze bottle that is going with me because that way I can have water. Now, you don't want to go too long without water. You know, there's a lot of people that have a gallon of water, you know, at their ready for a 3-hour walk. The whole gallon water a day thing, I think, is complete BS. I have never drinking a gallon of water in a day. I've never drinking a gallon of liquid in a day. Maybe a gallon of liquid, but it's usually soda or something like that. I stay hydrated fine. There's a lot of times I might drink 24 ounces of liquid. Not the healthiest liquid. I'm fine. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I don't buy it. Is it good to drink a gallon of water a day? Yeah, it probably is. Do I do it? No, I don't. And I'm not going to. That's ridiculous. I don't have enough bathroom time for that kind of activity. So, yes, a water filtration system, absolutely. money blanket, a lockpick, and a self-defense tool. That's my game. I'm sticking to it. Thanks for watching this video. Maybe give you something to consider. Maybe give you something to think about. Sorry, I took a muscle relaxer about a half an hour ago, so my head's a little woohoo. But anyway, thanks for checking out this video. I appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate that more. Hit the like button. That'd be cool. Till next time, peace.